Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna try something different again. As I really enjoyed watching the Nightwish documentary. A friend recently told me about the Holy Hell documentary of architects, and it's just a short one. I'm not sure what it's about entirely. I think there's also some live performance involved in that video. Um, I was a huge Architects fan in what for me was the prime, which was All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us and Lost Together. I haven't followed them through the last two albums, I think, because something was missing. Everyone who knows Architects, I think, knows what or who is missing. So, yeah, without further ado, let's stop talking and start listening. So, Architects, the Holy Hell, Holy Ghost documentary. Holy Hell was the album. Okay. An association with architects? I thought it's about them. Yeah, right, that was around 6 years ago already. That's quite an old one. Holy. Oh my god. I just got goosebumps just by seeing that. For a band of this genre to make it this big, that was quite a step. Oh, 6 months later after that.
I guess the biggest lesson I've learned that's repeatedly come to me and actually sort of underpins the whole meaning behind the record is just that you can go through terrible things and come out as a better person at the other end of it, and you can come out as maybe a happier person, or there's growth and evolution in going through those nightmares.
There's definitely growth in all of that if you make it this far. The problem is when something really bad happens to you, it always sticks with you, I feel. I don't think it will leave you ever, but you can make the best out of it if you can make it to a certain point, and if it doesn't break you like entirely. But that's the thing. You have to make it this far, and that can be difficult, as I know.
Nightmarish situations that befall us all at some point or another, and I think it's kind of just how you deal with it and how you face it. It was something that I think Tom showed as well a lot. He kind of looked at cancer as kind of a teacher, I guess, in a way. Like,
Yeah, maybe just to get everything on the same page. That is Denzel, the drummer of Architects, and his brother Tom was the guitar player, and he died of cancer, I think, 6-7 years ago. So before that was filmed, of course.
it made him a better person, as crazy as that I'm sure sounds to some people. So yeah, I think it's if I'm going to take anything away from the last 18 months, it's just pain is inevitable and sometimes necessary, and some people disagree with it, but if you're not going to use suffering as an opportunity to grow and evolve and become a better person, then what's the point,
Well, maybe sometimes there's just no point in suffering. That's my opinion, but it is a good thing to work for it, to have kind of a positive outlook that it gives you something, that you can make something out of it. Like I think the biggest piece of art came from quite a lot of suffering and pain. At least the ones I enjoy, and that's maybe a bit morbid, but still, I can relate to that.
Architects guitarist Tom Searle has died aged 28.
We've been touring the world for over 10 years.
28, man.
Now 8 albums, just like my life.
Tom was the main songwriter who wrote everything.
But the band are currently unsure about their future.
And I think people would completely understand if we were just to go, we can't do it.
A massive part is just like, oh, we've got to keep this alive for Tom. We've got this massive, like, legacy.
We have been a band for fucking 13 years and 7 albums.
It's really like holding on to smoke.
Just that new reality, you know what I mean?
I felt protective over Tom's legacy.
I can't think of any situation like it.
You couldn't really think of anything more personal.
His twin brother and Architects co-founder Dan remains.
It's really, really a horrible thing. The guy was 28. I'm 34 now. I would have imagined dying at 28. The things I would have missed. The growth that didn't happen by then, because I wouldn't have come this far. And for a band, like, not just, I mean, they probably have been like family. Like, the drummer has been family, like blood relatives. We're talking here. This is some of the worst things that can happen to you, and music-wise, especially if Tom was the main songwriter, you can never like replace that part of you.
The band's drummer.
I can't tell.
Oh yeah, just keep. Just keep saying. I just want to hear Wales.
That looks kind of depressing. That's the studio.
Initially,
oh my
after
God.
everything happened, we had a tour booked in with Bring Me in Australia, and Dan was like the first person to be like, right, let's go.
It was the right thing to do in the sense that, like, there would be no point in just sitting around and being stationary and just having all these emotions and just kind of general disorientation about everything.
Since the first outing as Architects Without Tom, it was like a massive deal. But it was important.
But it was definitely a very unique time to try and just that new reality, you know what I mean?
And then came home for a couple of weeks and then did a European tour that finished in the UK at Brixton. And pretty much straight after that, maybe within the month after that show, Josh sent me a couple of songs and I sort of took them apart and made them into, you know, that Architect's kind of character. I suppose that was the moment that I realised, oh, okay, well, so we could do something here.
I think sometimes it's really important to just keep going, at least for a period of time. To not sink into that deep depressive hole forever. But it's very important to work through it and work on it, and just also stay still for a bit and just realize what happened, and grief, or especially grief in that case.
I didn't maybe realize how much I'd learned from him until we started writing, and I would be like, well, okay, I can do this. I remember doing this, and you know, the way Dan would give me an idea, or the way he would sing it, it would be like, this is so crazy. It's almost like Tom's still here.
It's not that he's still here, but that parts of him just imprinted on the people you're living with, people you that were closest to you, and that is an amazing thing if that happens.
Trying to make an album after something like that's happened comes with all sorts of insecurities and all sorts of challenges, but really Dan has kind of pushed everyone through that, and he's pushed himself through it as well.
My brother was the songwriter. He has died and we're carrying on without him, and then I've written the album about that. So it sort of like has engulfed, it engulfed my life, and everything to do with it is about my life. So you couldn't really think of anything more personal.
Then Josh would start sending Dan songs, and then Dan would start reworking them, making them more sort of like architectsy, and then Josh was sort of figuring out the way we worked, and then Dan was managing to like make songs that Tom had left into like 3-minute songs.
I think we all knew in the back of our minds that Josh was going to be playing with us. He came into the fold, he already had material to contribute, and from then on it was, okay, we have a starting point.
You know, Josh was someone who was sort of historically been in and around the band. And yeah, you know, he was someone who spoke at Tom's funeral. He's someone who's close to us, and he's someone that Tom had said he wanted to play with us, so...
We sort of spoke about like a working dynamic, and in Architects it's actually quite refreshing to just write like loads and loads of stuff and just not have to worry about the agony of like arranging parts. I can give him a song that's like 5.5 minutes long, and then he can chop it down and just remove bits that he doesn't need.
Who am I to create a song for a band that's been around this long and done this much and is at the level it's at, you know? It's a high level to start debuting your own material. So yeah, hopefully people don't hate them, because then that would be really sad for me.
I gotta say, I never hated the stuff. In Holy Hell, you could still hear something from Tom, but you could also feel the absence of him. That makes sense. And what came after, I don't know. It just didn't connect it to me anymore. You know what I mean? I say that with no ill intent or something. It's just what happened. And it's so important for them that they moved on. And can still create good music and live their lives like that. That is so important, and I'm super happy for them.
Including a show at London's Alexandra Palace.
Architects drummer Dan Searle tweeted that this tour is well beyond our ambitions when we started this.
Frontman Sam said
It's like a brand new doomsday.
We're at Millennium Studios in Bedford, just on the last day of pre-production for our headline tour. Off to Europe on Wednesday, we start in Zurich, then we've got 8 shows in the mainland, and then we come back over to London to go play Ali Pali, and we're basically just rehearsing the set, rehearsing the production, trying to get everything tight before we go and play.
I remember Doomsday was the first song they put out, I think, of that new album, where you could still feel Tom's presence. Just an amazing song.
All right, Fred. Yep. Stage right, this is where the party's at, apparently. Yet to see it. What are you guys up to?
Cab sims, dude.
Very exciting. Cab impulses.
How dry he just said, very exciting.
It's a pretty standard backline for us, besides this monstrosity, which is my new keyboard rig.
Oh.
This is a big part of rehearsal for me, learning how to sort of play that. It's very simple, but yeah, not a keyboard player. The most important part of the show up here.
Crazy that they want to do it live, though. Most of people don't do that.
You're vital, Fred. And up behind him, you'll see what has been referred to as the trampoline.
The British calmness it's just messing
with projections, but it does just look like a big trampoline when it's not being used. My stuff and Josh's stuff is over here, and various computers that are doing all sorts of things which I don't understand. But what I will say is it's a growing machine, and it needs to all be tested out and go wrong a few times before we actually perform, so it doesn't all happen there. So that's why it's so important to come and do this.
Actually, a cool thing he just said there. They need to be tested out a lot of times and to fail a few times. So if they fail, you know what to do. And also to try to improve them, that they do not fail anymore. But that kind of failure is so important. It's, yeah, just something I want to add here. Super cool.
Some of those nights in Europe, in fact, every night of that tour was ridiculous. It was like, I remember we walked into the venue in Prague and I stood on stage. I was just looking out, just like, how has this band got to this level? How are we playing venues this size?
They were quite a niche band, so this is extraordinary.
Everything this band
Really.
has been doing, considering what our style of music is like, seems surprising to me. And it seems, I don't know, I like to think that the band has a lot more to it than the surface value of being an aggressive metal band. There's a lot of
course,
values that the band holds.
What we've done a lot on this album is stand on stage in front of thousands of people and cry as men, and that's been important, and it does tie into the record. You know, having these big collective experiences that create this sense of unity that's really absent in our society. You know, allowing people to be real. You know, strangers crying with each other, and that was a big thing that I heard a lot in Ali Pali. It was just strangers hugging each other, and people were able to cry. And yeah, they're crying for Tom, but they've probably lost people in their lives that they haven't really dealt with it fully, and they haven't been able to express that fully. And it's kind of been like a forum for those people to get together because they haven't had a chance to do that publicly. And I think that's a really important thing that needs to be addressed.
I think they did a really good job at that, and a really good point that in our society people just they're not able to be themselves very often and to be open with their emotions, and it's something their shows create. It's something that sometimes movies create, that few gatherings create, but I feel not enough. And what these reaction things, by the way, also did for me in a certain point, and probably also for other people, is that they gave them the sense of camaraderie and unity, as you said, to just feel stuff together and be okay about it, just be themselves. A really great thing.
You know, there's obviously there's a story to the band, and I think people are invested in us as a group of people as well now. So it's not just about like, oh, this album's cool, let's go and see this band live. It's more about like
the whole
I don't know,
experience.
it feels like people want us to do well, and I feel like that translates to us being able to sell out Ali Pali.
Such an insane venue.
Playing Ali Pali was, I found that a bit.
Never heard of that, by the way.
Going from playing to 3,000 or 4,000 people, when you then jump to 10,000 people, it's like such a massive jump still. And if we were playing to 10,000 people every night, it would feel like nothing, you know. But it's that jump.
It felt like a big roll of the dice, and the way that people reacted to it once we announced it, and the way that, I don't know, it felt almost kind of not real, in the sense that it's quite a difficult thing to process, because it was such a big occasion for us, and it was such like a, I don't know, it felt like such a leap from everything we had done before.
Like, Tom would not have comprehended what this would have become. He wouldn't have comprehended Brixton either. It's just it's like it's really hard to kind of wrap your head around for a metal band like us to even have anything remotely like this.
Ali Pali was strange for me, because it was like you waited so long for it, and then you get to the day and you're like, how has this been sold out? You walk
Sold
out
out
the venue,
a
and
10,000
like,
venue.
You wait months for it to happen, and then it's there.
I just want to say something that for me, at some point I learned that only scales change. And if you're at that point, it doesn't matter if you play in front of 10 people or 10,000. You get the same kind of same kind of nervous. The scales change, but the feeling for me didn't anymore. So if it was hundreds of people or 10 people, it didn't really matter that much to me. Like, and it's so for me, it's like that with a lot of things. That if you concentrate on the simple things that are happening, it's just the scale that changes, but not the thing you do. But still 10,000 and intimidating. And this would be the moment where I go to toilet, like, still 10 times. 5 minutes until stage, and still I need to go to the toilet 10 times. I got a nervous bladder. That's how it is. That's the worst.
Thank you for making this such a perfect evening for us. I hope you felt every bit of energy that you've given us come back to you. If you know the words to this song,
Great to see them enjoy it.
sing it as loud as you fucking can. Gone with the wind.
Probably one of my favorite songs.
I've got something to say. When my brother was sick, I used to think a lot about this, about being here, specifically behind the stage with my brother, telling him I couldn't believe that we were here. I couldn't believe that we were playing this place, and he was better. It's at least 50% proof that manifestation is true, because at least his music is here, we are here, and you guys made it possible. So I want to thank you sincerely for being here, because it means everything to us. Because we have been a band for fucking 13 years and 7 albums. And on behalf of Tom, I would like to say thank you. because he would be tearing up looking at 10,000 people here to see us play his songs. He would not fucking believe it.
That was one of the most heartbreaking performances I've ever seen. But also beautiful.
Having a kid is so cool. It's so lovely that out of something so dark can come something so amazing with him and his wife. And I think, yeah, he's the sole reason this album happened. Him and Tom. And him wanting to do Tom proud. And I think everything that we had learned from touring with those two, the rest of us, it was like, whatever you need, we'll go. I think Tom would be really proud of all of us, but Dan in particular.
Holy shit. What a beautiful video that was. What a good job they did. What amazing storytelling. I gotta say, at least this performance was so emotional, so important, so good. Sorry, that got me a bit emotional. Maybe a bit. But I think that says that they made a great job with honoring Tom. I'm a bit speechless, to be honest. there was such a beautiful story to be told, and they did such a great job. I said that already, I think, quite a lot, but that was an important video, very good documentary too. And this is gonna be there forever, at least as long as YouTube exists, at least. Ah. Yeah. As I said, I'm speechless. Yeah, maybe I just want to add that one of my favorite lines of Gone with the Wind is hope is a prison. And it's actually, I think it's a line that also helped me in a way. Because if you think about it, it's I think Tom wrote it in terms of having cancer, but also having the hope of getting better. And when he arrived at the point that he didn't, he was kind of relieved, as far as I understood it. I think I read that in an interview, and that is something we can all take from that. Like for me, it was we all grew up being told that we were special or something, and in a way we are. We all like our own kind of person, but it also puts a lot of pressure on you. So, and in I think in Tom's case, it was that if you don't have the pressure anymore or the hope to get better, you can just do whatever you want, and in a good way. That's at least my interpretation of all that, and it's actually quite a good thing. And yeah, just something I took away from Gone with the Wind, and something I will always remember, even if it's just a line of a song, and that's something Tom wrote. And that will always be with me. So if you think about that, it's quite cool and impressive. So thank you for watching if you made it this far. And I hope you enjoyed it. Listen to Architects. Remember Tom. And see you on the next one.